Hello and welcome back everyone. In this video we'll be looking at transformations and animations in CSS. Now in CSS we can do a lot of animations, but for this video we'll be looking at a few of them, most especially CSS transformations. Now let's say we want to do some kind of animations on this our card when the user hovers over it. As we looked at, we use the hover pseudo class, which is this, and if we want to scale out this card and make it bigger when the user hovers over it, to do something like that we use the transform property. But first of all, let's center our content in this page. Let's center it fully. So I'll make the body a flex box, then the flex direction should be column. Let's see. Okay, and we want to align items center. So now we have our content centered on our page. Now let's continue. Now when our user hovers, we want to transform this and set the scale to, let's see, 1.05, and we also want to add a transition to that, and a transition of 1 second, and the type of transition we want to use is easing out. So we'll look at the other types of transitions later on. Now let's see. Now when we hover, the card gets bigger, and you can see the scale increases when you hover, just like that. And to reduce the amount of time it takes, you just lower the transition duration. So now that's a basic animation in CSS. For now, let's take a look at the transition types. Now easing out, what this just basically does is the animation starts out slow, then speeds up and slows down at the end, then same thing when it goes back. So if let's increase this animation time. So when you hover, the animation starts out slowly, increases midway and slows down at the end, and same for going back. So that's what you can use if you want to get like a bouncy feel for animation. But if for any reason you want to just have a linear animation which doesn't look as good, you can do something like that by setting the animation type to linear. So linear, the animation goes all the way from beginning to the end. The speed doesn't change, as the name implies, the animation remains linear. Then the ease. Now ease is the default. Even if you don't set an animation type, that's the default animation, that's the default transition type that will be played out. And ease in and ease out just do the same thing. It's the animation slows down as it's beginning and just goes through from the middle to the end, and same for ease out. The animation plays and when getting to the end it slows down. So that's basically it, but you'll most likely want to use the easing out animation type. So now that's it for transitions. Let's look at other type of transforms. Now we've looked at scaling the card. We can also use the rotate transformation. Now what this does, it rotates the card or whatever you're trying to animate on a particular axis. Now for this we use degrees, so I can rotate this card 50 degrees, and when we hover over this, you'll see how the card rotates. And So the more you increase the rotation degrees, the more it will rotate. So 360-degree rotation and so on. So now that's it for the rotate. You can also decide to rotate on just the x-axis or the y-axis, and you get a kind of flip on the x-axis and the y-axis. So now that's it for the rotation. We'll also look at the translate. So basically what the translate does is we set two values, one for the right and the other for the bottom. So what this does is our box will get pulled to the right 50 pixels and pulled bottom 50 pixels. So let's see that in action. When we hover, it gets pulled to the right 50 pixels and pulled bottom 50 pixels. So these don't have to be the same. This can be a whole different value, and that's what we get. So you can do all of this using CSS. And the last one I want to show is the skew transformation. So for this we use degrees instead of pixels. So set this to 20 degrees and this to 30 degrees. So you most likely won't use this, but just want to show this for the sake of this tutorial, and you get a kind of squeezed up animation. So you can just check out all this and see what you can get, and as always you will not want to use this in excess. It's just things that you want to use in minimal, and for things like your buttons, when you use a hover over your buttons or click, you want to give them a visual representation of that action. So just go through it and check out other types of animations. There are many other types of animations you can do in CSS through using keyframes and many more, but for this we'll just look at the basics. So that will be it for this video, and we are getting close to the end of our CSS section of this course. The last thing we have to look at is responsive CSS and how we can make our web page look different on different screen sizes. So see you in that video, and bye for now.